HR and new leaders, are you experiencing this right now? You have a team of talented individuals, but you can feel the skills gap widening every single week. You see the potential, but because you are buried in your technical execution, you tell yourself, well, not right now. We don't have the capacity right now for training. So if you are an HR manager, learning and development professional, or a new leader looking to level up your team, you are exactly in the right place today. This is not a trick question that I'm going to ask you, but have you treating professional development as a nice to have instead of a core leadership responsibility? You're actually capping your team's growth and your own impact as a leader. Today, I'm here to stop by to talk about that, to look at how new leaders, especially new leaders, can take on a learning and development mindset. And so, welcome, everyone, to another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. This is a brand new series, and I'm excited to kick off April with the Community to Corporate Bridge Mastering the Learning and Development Mindset. So, I had this epiphany recently. As many of you know, I am Toastmaster, and I serve as the Vice President Education in my own Toastmaster community. And so the setting there isn't just a volunteer role. It is a full-scale learning and development function. And so as the VPE, I carry out 5 core learning and development responsibilities week after week. So these aren't just they're actually pillars of talent development in any organization. And so I had that epiphany and it shifted my mindset. And when I looked at it, again, I had this immediate mindset shift because these are the functions of learning and development and HR and HR in smaller, companies in the corporate world. What are these functions? What are these pillars that I recognized? 1, development plans; 2, engagement; 3, onboarding; 4, evaluation; and 5, weekly system. And so I realized that if I can drive growth and a commitment in an environment where no one is actually getting a paycheck for it, can you imagine what that would be, what those principles can do in your own corporate team? Let me introduce myself. I'm Tanique Easy, leadership development expert, supporting HR, learning and development, talent management, chief people officers, strengthen their first time and mid-level managers' performance through mindset productivity so they can become high impact leaders with less burnout. And so if you are joining me live right now, I want you to type hashtag live in the chat and and if you're catching the replay, type hashtag replay in the comments. And remember that for 2026, our thought is MVP confidence is currency. And so over the next 4 weeks, because this is a new series, over the next 4 weeks, we're going to explore the intersection of community leadership and corporate talent development. But today we're kicking off the series with a fundamental shift in perspective. And that is how new leaders can develop a strategic learning and development mindset. So let's talk about the core lesson that we're going to be dealing with today. I have distilled, as I've said, I've distilled those 5 aspects of what I do as a vice president education in Toastmasters into the very same roles for learning and development leaders, for HR leaders, and how new managers can also take on these in their capacity so that they can grow their teams. And so here's a truth that I want to say softly, but I want to do it with a little force. And so, because if the thing is, if you aren't managing your team's development, you aren't leading them. You're just supervising tasks. And so, for us to successfully transition, especially for new managers, for new leaders, to transition from just the technical contributor, because you were the first contributor, to translate or to transfer, to transition from just that technical contributor to a high impact leader, a mindset shift is required, an identity shift is required. And this is where your responsibility moves from, me, my output, to we, the success and the growth of the team. And so, in my low stakes environment, in my low stakes laboratory of community leadership, these are the 5 core pillars, as I said before, that I'm going to share with you, that I've distilled, that new managers can use, mid-level managers can use, HR leaders, chief people officers, talent management officers, leaders can use to close the skills gap. So let's get into those leadership. Let's get into that, because we are moving from task output, we are moving from me, we're moving from to focus on the team. So we've already established that. So let's map out the strategic development plan. That's the first pillar, where the strategic development plan. So we're going to stop guessing. We're not going to guess anymore, but we're going to identify the specific strengths and weaknesses of our team. And we're going to help them to set clear, actionable, professional and personal goals, so that we, as well as to track these goals. So we're not just going to leave them be. So when we have persons on our team, for new managers, when you take over a team, it's to getting to know the persons and to tie those development directly to the business KPI. And so here is how it works in my community model. So in Toastmasters, in my Toastmasters lab, we never guess what a member wants. Never. We actually sit down one-on-one with that member. So every member that joins a club, a community, we sit down with that member and we find out exactly what are they trying to achieve before they ever give a speech. Because most persons think that Toastmasters is just about giving speech, but it's actually more than that. And so we don't just assign a random project to that person. We allow them to choose a path. We have the LMS system, just like, in some corporate companies, they have a learning management system. We also have that in Toastmasters. I am the one who is responsible in my community to manage that LMS system. And so we allow each individual member to choose a path that aligns with their personal goals, so they can actually maximize their strength